Good morning, Anna.
Hi, Walter. Good evening. Oh, good morning. I mean, how is
Sorry.
everything? How is everything?
It's okay.
How was your holiday? How was your weekend?
I was working because I work on holidays too, so.
No, that's terrible.
Yes, and I always work on holidays on weekends.
That's terrible. I have my brother and he works on holidays too, so it's terrible, right?
Yes, I don't have that crucial.
No, what a mess. But did you have any problem with the homework?
I did the homework. I just have to do the test, and I couldn't read the book, but I studied some verbs.
Okay, that's cool. There is no problem in it. So, okay. Could you please help me to remember until what part we stopped? I guess
I don't remember well.
it was.
We were in the Model C, maybe. We was
Yes,
starting.
we've
We
seen
were
the. I guess. Okay. We stopped in wish, right? In that lesson.
Yes, I think.
Yes, yes. So today is going to be. This is about the second conditional, right? As you remember, we've seen the zero and first conditional. So this is going to be, let me check, iPad. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. Once you can see it, please let me know.
I can see.
Okay, that's cool. So this is the last conditional that we're going to see. Is the past and real conditional, right? For example, as you can see, we have some underlined phrases. If I hadn't become an English teacher, I would have continued being an actor, right? If I had been lucky, I might have been in a movie. So as you can see, we have a different structure. So let's listen the audio first.
As you know, I'm an English teacher. If I hadn't become an English teacher, I would have continued being an actor. If I had been lucky, I might have been in a movie. These sentences are examples of the past unreal conditional. Let's take a look at them.
Okay, so let's continue. Oh, all right. So this is, as I told you, right, this is the last conditional that we're gonna see. If you can take note of this structure, it's important because then sometimes it looks difficult, but it's not difficult, right? So let's listen the first audio.
We use the past unreal conditional to talk about past conditions and results that never happened. The if clause expresses the unreal condition. The result clause expresses the unreal result.
If I had been more careful, we would have had the evidence.
This means that Talia wasn't careful, and as a result, they don't have the evidence. We often use the past unreal conditional to express regrets about what happened in the past.
If I hadn't messed it up, we'd have the recording now.
In the example, Talia regrets that she messed up the recording.
Okay, so we have two uses of the third conditional, right? Okay, if you've seen that, can you listen to me?
Yes.
Oh, I received a message that my microphone is not working at all. So if you have problems with the listening, please let me know, right?
Okay.
Okay, so as I was telling you, we have two uses of the third conditional, right? The first one is when the person is imagining a different past, right? For example, you did something, okay, in the past, but what would happen if then you had a different result, right? So in that case, you're imagining something that didn't happen, right? It's like a hypothetical situation. And the second use of this conditional is like an imaginary situation that didn't happen, okay? So the first thing that we're going to say about this one is that it's in the past, right? For the first case, we could say that you did something, but you asked yourself what would happen if I would did the things in a different way, for example, right? And the other one is that we're gonna use it for imaginary situations that didn't happen before, right? So you have an unreal, and that's the reason why it is called unreal, because it never happened, right? So if you could did something, then you would have a different result, right? So let's see the example. If I had been more careful, notice that that's a fake condition, right? We would have had the evidence. So it means that Talia wasn't careful, right? Notice wasn't careful. We're talking in the past. And as a result, they don't have the evidence, right? So both cases, the condition and the result are fake situations, are unreal situations, right? We have the condition, that's an unreal one, and we have the result, and it's unreal. It never happened. So we can say in some cases, not always, but in some cases, we use this conditional to express regrets, right? In this example that I told you a moment ago, maybe you did something and now maybe you feel a regret, but you can't do anything, right? Things are done and that's all, right? So sometimes we regret about something that we did in the past, but I ask myself, I imagine what would happen if I could do the things in a different way. What could or what would be my result if, for example, I decided a different thing, right? So as you've seen, in all the uses that we have for the past and real conditional are unreal again, right? The condition and the result, both are false situations, fake situations that never happened before, okay?
Okay.
Is there any question until this part?
No, I think it's okay.
All right, that's cool. If you have any question, let me know. All right, now we're gonna talk about the structure, right? Let's listen the audio.
The verb in the if clause is in the past perfect.
If you hadn't done such a good job, we'd never have known the truth.
We form the verb in the result clause with would have plus the past participle.
If you hadn't done such a good job, we'd never have known the truth.
Notice that in conversation, we often use the contraction d for would and wouldn't for would not. We also use the contraction de for had and hadn't for had not.
Okay, we're gonna continue with this part. We're gonna talk about the structure. Well, it's a little, it's more large than the other conditionals, right? The first part, the if clause or the condition, remember, we call the if clause or the condition when it starts with the if, right? So if you're gonna do something, you're gonna have a result. In this case, if you did something, you had a result. So this first part is going to be in the past perfect, right? We're gonna remember the past perfect, and it is the had, the auxiliary had, plus the verb in its participle form, and that's all, right? So the second part, we're gonna continue, we're gonna use the modal would, right? Plus have, the auxiliary have, and the past participle of the verb, right? So, for example, we have, if you hadn't done, right? Notice that we're using the negative. So you're gonna use a negative as is in the past perfect tense. If you hadn't done such a good job, we'd never have known the truth, right? You have two ways. There are some cases, right? Some teachers, and they say, right, we have the past perfect plus would have plus the past participle, but it's more easy for me, I guess, to say we're going to use in the first part, in the if conditional, the past perfect, and then we're going to use the present perfect plus would, right? So we know if we're going to use a modal, then the next verb needs to be in its base form. So in other cases, right, I always, this means that we can say that this is the past perfect, there is no problem on it. And in the second part, because sometimes that they get confused, we're gonna use the present perfect. Finally, this is the present perfect, right? The present perfect is formed by have, right? Plus the past, the verb in its participle form. The only difference is that this part, right? We're not gonna modify this auxiliary verb as we actually do with the present perfect. For example, if we're gonna talk in third person, she has been there, for example, right? We're not gonna modify. Why? Because we're using the modal would. If we are gonna remember that we have the rule for all the modals, that if we're gonna use a modal, the next word that we're gonna use needs to be in its base form. For that reason, we're not going to modify, even if we're gonna talk in third person, right? So let's as a summarize. This is the past perfect. You can conjugate it into the negative. For that reason, I tell you have to know all the verbs, right? In its three ways. And then we're gonna continue with the present perfect. Okay, and for sure, the auxiliary, the modal verb, right? We've never have known, for example. So yes, that's something that you have to remember. In conversation, right? In conversation, we use a contraction, right? And it's normal for informal conversations, right? We actually use wouldn't, right? For would not. It's not wrong if you don't use the contractions, but it's common to use it. For hadn't, right? For the contraction is hadn't, right? The long form is had not. So as you feel comfortable, it's okay. There is no problem on it. It's not like a rule you have to use a contraction. No, but as you feel comfortable, then you're gonna use it. But we are get used to use the contraction in informal conversation. Okay.
Okay.
Is there a question maybe?
Excuse me?
Is there any question?
No, it's okay.
Okay, that's cool. So remember, the first part, the condition or the if clause, right? It's gonna use the past perfect time tense. For example, if you had studied, okay, comma, that's something that I did, okay? If I had studied or if you had studied, right? You would have passed the exam,
Okay.
right? Would you notice what is the real situation? This is the real situation, right? If you had studied, you would have passed the exam. But what is the reality? What do you think?
He didn't study, so he's not passed the exam.
Yes, you didn't study, right? So you didn't pass the exam. That's the reality. But the imaginary situation is that if you had studied, you would have passed the exam. So as you didn't, then now you had a bad grade, for example. Okay, but this thing that is in the past, right?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, that
Can I use the present and the future with if? Like if I study, I will pass the exam.
yes, but you need a different structure, right?
Okay.
For example, it's the first conditional, right? For example, if I'm gonna say, if you study, you will pass the exam. If you study, let's write, if you study, you, oh, you will pass the exam. Okay, notice that we are using a different structure. Do you remember what conditional is this? This is the first conditional, okay? So it means that it could be a possible situation in the future or like a predicting likely result in the future. If the
Oh yeah.
condition happen, you're going to have a result.
Yeah, we started that in the last class.
Yes, so let's suppose that you had a different situation, right? It already happened. If you had studied, you
Well,
would
how
have
best.
okay, notice it's a different situation. There is a
Yes.
big difference, right? So the question, the answer is yes. Okay, but you need to change the structure. You need to look for maybe what could be the situation, and then you're gonna decide. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's continue then with the third point. As you remember, with the first conditional, we've seen that we have the possibility to use some models, right? And it depends on the context. The same happens with the past and real conditional. So let's listen the third out.
We can also use the modals could, should, or might in the result clause.
If Talia had had more time, she might have remembered to check the buttons.
If she had checked the buttons, she could have prevented her mistake.
We often use the contractions could have, should have, or might have in conversation.
Okay, let's continue with this third point. We can use some models like could, should, or might in the result clause. If Talia had notice that part. This is the auxiliary and this is the verb, right? So we're gonna find some cases where we're gonna look for this different structure. It looks weird, but it's normal, right? And it's okay because this is the auxiliary verb and then this is the verb, the principal or the main verb. So if Talia had more time, right, it means that Talia didn't have time, okay? So she might have remembered to check the buttons. We're using the modal might, okay? Or if she had checked the buttons, I know these two examples look different, but it's part of the video. So we need to watch the video in order to understand this example. But the point here is the situation, right? If she had checked the buttons, it means that she didn't check the buttons. She could have prevented her mistake. As a result, she didn't prevent anything. Okay. So as you can see, more than the structure, we're looking for the context, right? So we are looking for something that never happened. So look at the structure. We're using the past perfect, the modal, and then we're using the present perfect, okay? But remember, that's what I told you a minute ago. We're using the time tense of the present perfect, right? But the only difference is that we are not changing the auxiliary verb as we learned, right? Why? Because we're using a model. So if we are gonna use a model, then we have to follow the rule of the model. So we don't have to change the verb in any way, right? So even if I'm talking in third person, then the auxiliary verb is gonna stay like that in the base form, right? So again, past perfect, present perfect, and the model. Okay?
Okay.
And notice that again, we're using the contraction. Okay? So we have could have, should have, or might have, right? Again, we don't pronounce the letter L, right? It's like could have, we only pronounce the letter B. Could have, should have, or might have, right? Could you please try it?
Could, should, might.
Okay, this part, the contraction with contractions, right? Should have, could have,
Should,
or
should,
okay. The next one,
and which one? Could, should, or might?
the three ones, please.
Okay. Could, should, and might.
Okay, now it's okay, right? Again, we're gonna pronunciate it until this part, could. Okay, we're
Should.
gonna omit letter L, could. Then we're gonna add at the end of the model the letter V. It's not like it's not very pronunciated, but we actually do it, right? So it's like could have, should have, might have. Okay, could you please try one more time?
Could, should, and might.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you. So it's okay if you, again, if you don't feel comfortable with it, you have the option to pronounce it like that, the whole part, right? Or
Okay.
if it's okay for you, use a contraction. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now we're gonna finish with point number 4, and this is something that all the conditionals have in common in writing. So let's listen.
The if clause can come at the beginning or the end of the sentence. The meaning is the same. Notice that in writing, we use a comma after the if clause when it comes first.
If I had been more careful, we would have had the evidence. Or, we would have had the evidence if I had been more careful.
Okay. As I told you, these only apply in writing, right? You have, even in spoken English, yes, it also applies. But let's remember that if you're going to start in writing, I'm talking in writing, if you're going to start with the if clause, then you need to use a comma. If you're going to start with the condition, if I had been more careful, we would have the evidence, or we would have the evidence if I had been more careful. So both cases are the same one. There is no difference at all, unless you're gonna write it. So if you're gonna start with the if clause, use comma. If you're gonna start with the result clause, we don't use a comma, because the if clause works as a comma, as a connector, is the purpose of using comma. So you only have to take care on that part. Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's all about the lesson. Is there any question, maybe?
No, I don't have questions. Okay.
Okay, that's cool. Now we're gonna continue practicing for a second with the activity that we have in person. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Once you can see it, please let me know. You're gonna find this in homework, but I'm not going to help you. So can you see it?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, could you please read the instruction?
Read the first sentence, complete the second sentence so that it expresses the meaning of the first sentence. Click on the box and then choose the correct answer.
Okay, so the first one.
If Talia had gone to Joe's party, Amy would have introduced her to Matt. This means that had gone to Joe's party. Amy didn't introduce Talia to Matt.
Okay.
If Julio hadn't been of his college soccer team, he wouldn't have gotten on the national team. This means that Julio hadn't. Julio got on the national team.
The last one.
Yes.
Okay.
If Paul Nongo, I never
Yes,
heard
it's
that.
okay.
Okay. If Paul Nongo hadn't blocked the last goal, the other team would have won the game. That means Paul Nongo blocked the last goal. The first one.
Okay.
Amy could have gotten an A in her journalism class if she studied harder. Amy could have. This means that Amy didn't get an A in her journalism class.
Okay.
If the restaurant hadn't been so crowded, the service might have been faster. This means that the restaurant was crowded.
Crowded.
Yes.
Okay.
If there hadn't been so much traffic, they could have gotten to the office by 8 o'clock. This means that there was a lot of traffic.
Okay. Is there any change that maybe you want to make?
No.
Okay, let's submit and let's see how is everything. Okay, you got 6 out of 6. So congrats. Okay. Let's continue with the next activity. As you see, it's not difficult, right?
Yes.
So we only need to see what kind of situation is it. So in that order, you're gonna take the best one. So now we're gonna practice the structure, right? I'm going to share my screen with you. Give me a second, please. It is loading. Okay. So we have a conversation. We have two paragraphs, right? This is a conversation in a journalism. I guess it's a class if I'm not wrong. So you're gonna complete this conversation, right? Between Talia and Nick, right? So then you have in parentheses some verbs like be, get, can record, right? So you're gonna conjugate these verbs in each form that it requires, okay?
Okay. I'm so depressed. If I had been more careful, I would have got the evidence square. Next name, I can record. I would have can.
I would
Yeah. Oh,
But if we have can,
yes.
so the past of can is
Will could I could record,
only record.
no record, and I could have record
Okay.
Jackie and Dean's conversation if I had pushed.
My goodness.
Pushed. Yes, bottom, both buttons. But at least I know the food now. If I hadn't here, hadn't here, I don't remember the past of here.
You like that?
I think it's the same here with D. Here,
Okay. Okay, like that?
yes.
Okay, the pronunciation is hurt, right? Here, hurt. Okay.
Their conversation, I would have no, I would haven't, I wouldn't have no
No. Okay.
the whole story.
Okay. The whole story, right?
Yes.
So
Poor Talia. She's so angry at herself. If I had gotten, see, if I got it, if I had gotten her message, I would her here hurt
okay.
about the mistake with the recording. I wouldn't arrive. Arrived. Yes, I wouldn't arrive at her home with flowers I if I had no no no
No. Let's remember. No, new, new. It's like similar to the word new, right? No, new, known. The
okay
three forms.
no new known.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay,
All right.
what
Let's
had
continue.
what had happened, but at least we know the truth now. If Jackie and Dean has hasn't they have they has
I don't know. What do you think? Do you remember
I
what I explained you?
no, I don't remember. I'm confused right now. I think
Okay.
it
So what?
hasn't.
No, because okay. Before to continue, because there are some parts that are wrong. Let's remember the structure. I'm gonna write an example, right? Remember that we're gonna use the in the if conditional. We're gonna use the past perfect. For example, if you
Okay,
had studied, comma, right? The result clause, we're gonna use the present perfect.
perfect.
Okay, for sure the model, right? Don't forget the model. Would, now the present perfect. For example, you would have, sorry, I forgot. You would have passed the exam. Okay.
Okay.
So the structure, present, past perfect, modal, past present perfect. So please check some parts of the structure.
Okay.
Okay,
If,
I'm gonna, before to continue, we're gonna finish them, and then you're gonna see maybe your mistakes, okay?
okay. Hadn't talked about me at the restaurant. We would
Restaurant,
not, restaurant. Okay. We would not or wouldn't find out. Have
have,
found out
found out.
the whole story.
Okay, the pronunciation, we wouldn't or we wouldn't have found out, okay? Found out.
Okay.
This is like the whole story, right?
Okay.
Okay, so okay, do you want to modify something maybe?
I will read. So the person, if I had been more correct, I could have. If I had pushed, I have. No, it's okay.
All right, let's submit. And okay, you have 3 mistakes, right? The first one is the structure, the participle form of get. Let's remember,
Got it.
get,
Got it.
got, and
Got it.
got.
Yes, got it.
Okay, so this was a mistake. Then the structure, it's would. So what do you think is the problem here?
Have.
Have. Okay, you have heard. About the mistake with the recording, I wouldn't arrive. So what you
Have.
forgot?
It's the same.
Wouldn't have arrived. That was the correct one, right? The structure. You forgot the auxiliary, and you forgot to conjugate the verb and its participle form.
Really.
Okay, so it
Okay.
was it wouldn't have arrived. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now let's suppose that you did something in the past. Okay. And now you're imagining something in a different way. What could be? For example, I don't know what situation could be.
If I paid more attention,
Okay.
I would have had a better score.
Okay. So the first part, could you repeat it? If I
had, I don't remember what I say. If I had paid more attention,
okay, I would
I would have had a better score.
okay, and also gotten, right? I would have gotten
Yes, got it. Got it.
very score. Okay.
Okay.
Another situation that maybe you did in the past, not a reality, but just an example, right? Could you please mention one more?
Okay, if I
The negative, okay?
okay. If I had uh, if I had if I had not driven so fast, I wouldn't take an accident. Took an accident. Took it.
Okay. Okay, could be have instead of take, right? Because take it has a different context, so we could change the verb.
I wouldn't
Instead
have
of, I
to
wouldn't
have had an accident.
Okay. I wouldn't
Have had an accident.
actually. Okay. For example, if it hadn't rained, right, I would have done it. Okay. If it had been cheaper, right, then I would have bought it. Okay. If I no, I would have gone if you had told me. Okay. What else? Let's try with this one. For example,
Shoot.
if I had had the opportunity, no, what could be? No, it's okay, that it's fine. Opportunity, I would have left. Okay, I would have left. So as you've seen, we're talking about situations, right, that never happened in the past, right? So it means that I never had the opportunity, so I couldn't leave, okay? So if he had, he wouldn't have traveled, okay? So it's a false situation, right? If he hadn't had a passport, right, it means that it was in the past, right? If he hadn't had a passport, what could be the reality for it? What do you think?
If I couldn't.
If he had not had a passport.
Okay. He wouldn't have travel.
Right? Yes. What was the real situation?
He doesn't have a passport. He had a passport.
He didn't.
He had.
Right?
Yes.
He didn't have a passport. That's the reality. Okay. If he had not, if he hadn't, it's easy for me to use a contraction. It is more comfortable if he hadn't had a passport. So what do you think is the reality? What it was the reality? Did he have it or not?
If he had seen, he I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, if he hadn't had a passport, he wouldn't have traveled.
He didn't travel. He didn't travel, so he doesn't have the passport.
Okay, that's cool, right? Yes. That's the reality. Or that was the reality, I mean, right? Because it's in the past. Okay, did you get it?
Yes, I get it.
Okay, so the only thing that I would recommend you, right, is to remember the verb in these three ways, right? As you've seen, it's not it's not like more than, well, if we know the context, it's okay if we know the usage of this conditional. But you need more than that. You need to know how to conjugate the verbs, right? So that's the reason of why I told you that you have to remember. Okay, you
Yes.
have to know verbs. If you don't, then you're not going to be available to conjugate them. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I asked for a request to the coordinator to finish the class 10 minutes before because I had to go to the doctor. So I
Okay.
don't know if you have a problem with it.
No, it's no problem with me.
Okay. So we're going to stop until this part, right? If you have any question, please let me know. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I launched the poll. Could you please fill it? I guess this is our fourth class, right? Or not? No.
It's our third
Our
class.
okay. Yes, it's okay, right? So
Yes.
if you have any question, let me know to my DM, okay?
Okay, it's okay. No problem.
All right, that's cool. So have a great day. I'm gonna see you tomorrow, okay?
What time tomorrow? At the same time?
Is it okay at the same? Yes, is it okay for you?
It's okay. No problem.
All right, so I'm gonna see you at the same hour, okay?
Okay. See you tomorrow.